keeping with Memorial Day, we're talking to Andrea Goeglein, and we also have the author of a GI's Vietnam Diary with us, Judge Dominique Yezzo. He is going to be talking about his tour of duty in Vietnam, the emotions, of course, which ran the gamut, as you can well imagine. Andrea, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for bringing Dominic with you. Dominic, one tour of duty in Vietnam, 1968 to 69, yes. I'm understanding.
Yes.
Okay, and what division of the...
I was with the 1st Air Cavalry Division. I served with the Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Unit of the G5 Generals Division.
Dominic, we were talking before we came back on, but give us just some insight into a soldier. You're in the field, you're in Vietnam. What are your thoughts, what are your feelings, how do you stay together?
Well, one of the things that I did after I was wounded is I began to journal. I kept a daily log, and it allowed for me to take control over a matter and a situation that I had no control over. Once I was wounded, my world turned around. I actually thought that bad things happened to other people. I was 19 years old. I was without vulnerability to any hurt or harm that could come from the war. It was actually a little bit exciting to see that kind of confusion, that kind of power.
The extent of your injury?
Well, I was injured with hand grenade shrapnel in the neck and shoulder.
Okay.
And I was bleeding very, very profusely, and my world in a moment turned around. I realized that this was serious. This was for me, and that the potential for my death, my life being over, was true. And I was alone. I had no one with me. There was no family. There was nothing except the values that I grew with. And I was terrified. Suddenly, this was for keeps.
And that's, you know, that is why when he mentioned the book, Dominic and I only met in January, and when I talked about this show, he said, oh, but I kept a journal and I wrote a book about it. And journaling within human development is one of the most critical things, because if you heard what Dominic said, he was alone. He had no support around him. But what he did have was the ability to, on paper and pencil, talk to himself about what he was feeling, and that allowed him to stay in the moment versus go out into a lot of places, that thing that we talk so much about today. That's what journaling can do for you. It can help you stay present with the good and the horrible, so that you can begin the process of healing much quicker.
Dominic, were the rest of the soldiers, did they have the same feelings and emotions that you did out in the field?
Well, I learned that it's each man's war as he sees it through his own eyes. It's each woman's war as she sees it through her own eyes. I came to the war with a certain set of values that I was born with, that came from my family. They were values of believing that life has a sacred base. The confusion of seeing such carnage, of such waste, such destruction of people and property was enormous. And if I didn't have the base of family, those values, I would have not survived, I think. And I wrote so that I could control, I could memorialize, I could keep account of this history which was moving through me.
Did that give you peace as you were writing?
It gave me peace, and it let me be articulate with my brothers, the men who were beside me. It allowed me to share my grief in a way that I could concretize. In other words, the day was not lost. The action, the history of this day was not lost. I had it in a little book that the Army gave me in that side pocket, and I took that pencil out and wrote every day.
And you're saying your beliefs and your values and the way you were raised, they sustained you. They made you able to get through the day. They gave you the foundation to survive this incident, because we know even years later we're hearing about many incidents of unnecessary killing that went on in Vietnam. And I'm sure you saw this around you.
Well, I think there's unnecessary killing that goes on in every war. I think the Romans who fought the Carthaginians also had unnecessary killing. I think there's unnecessary killing going on right now as we sit here in peace and the dignity of this interview. We have young men and women in harm's way. The waste of life and the destruction of property in Vietnam turned my stomach. It made me sick. Nonetheless, I was part of a team I was a soldier. I was commissioned to function exactly and carefully, and I did. I believe in America. I love its premise. I love its idea.
So you were finding it very difficult to balance these values and, of course, why you were in Vietnam.
Every soldier does.
Yeah.
Every soldier has that interior struggle with the love of country and the destruction of people and property in other countries.
How much support were you getting from America and the other soldiers? Did you feel support from the United States?
I felt support from my family. Of course, 1969 was a confusing political time in the United States. The nation was torn, and that the answer is too big for the question. Nonetheless, I felt support from the values that I grew with. I honor where I came from because it held me. I didn't go crazy. I will never lose what I have because of
no matter what situation.
No matter what that I know
yeah,
because of my pressure in Vietnam.
That is one of the nice things he did in the reissuing of the book. He actually put news clips of what was going on in the second edition so that we, the reader, 30 years later, or however many years later it is, can think back, what was America going through at that time?
Because we forget.
Yes. We do forget. We do forget. And that was a very nice touch.
Andrea and Dominic, please stay there because when we come back, we're going to talk more about the diary and why you were there. That's the main question I think I have on my mind. Why were you there?
You two are you're the real deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. But we'll be right back, so stay where you're at.